Hello, so my life goal is to write a book that has many pages. So it's not really about the pages, it's about the number of things I'm calling key points. And a key point is usually 2 to 4 pages long, and the book is supposed to have two books within it. So it's each book has 1,000 key points, so it's going to have 2,000 key points. The book is called Neuristic Thoughts. I read the first three key points on this channel, and as it stands, I've got about six. And I've got about six key points now, and I'm going to have six tomorrow because I'm going to write another one a day. And I'm saying when this book is done, I can explain that to you and post it for free because it's going to have so many pages that when it's done in like 6 years, if I just keep writing every day, then we're going to have a very lengthy book on Norism, the philosophy of Lane Iwakura. And that's what my life goal is, to write this book. It's not to exercise, it's not to be a macho man. It's just to be sober and to write my book. And now I want to explain to you that there are what I've discovered to be 8 different forms of the language of Noor. So let's state for the record one, the premise is that I'm not a human and that I can speak the language of Noor. So the premise is that I'm not a human and I can speak the language of Noor. And the language of Noor is a non human language, and there are 8 different forms of Noor. So I'll list them for you. There are 8 different forms as ancient Noor, which is basic Noor, ancient South Korean Noor, ancient Mexican Noor, ancient Arabic Noor, ancient Afghanistan Noor, ancient Kuwait Noor, and ancient Japanese Noor, and there's one more I'm trying to remember. There was one more I can't remember. All right, so ancient Noor, ancient South Korean Noor, ancient Mexican Noor, ancient Arabic Noor, ancient Afghanistan Noor, ancient Kuwait Noor, ancient Japanese Noor, and there's another one. I'm struggling to remember what the fuck the eighth one is. But let's just go over what the ones I've listed are because I can't remember. I mean, it's hard to remember. I just figured this out. Oh, ancient Chinese Nor. That's the last one. Ancient Chinese Nor. So I'm gonna speak every single language of Nor, and I've actually not spoken these languages, most of them, before. So it's gonna sound like, and I'm gonna translate them to English. So I'm gonna say some words in each one. So for ancient Nor, which is basic Nor, I will say Blake wo yonga miom yawa king kam yo ya yo yo. Blake wo yonga gingya yoga yo yonga kon kam yom yawa. Blake wo yonga miom yawa yingya kon kam yom yawa. Alright, so what that translates to is I don't know, and within myself, and finding of my own reason within myself, not knowing where I was, and showing within myself, could I not find that moments thereof, and when I did not know, and should I not know, have there been thereof, when I'm not knowing, and still unknown what I did not know, could falling and beyond this point, shelling of my own doubt within when within myself I quell, and death of my own galaxy beyond this point that should knowing not be understood by me or myself. And that's what I said in ancient Norse, so now we'll do ancient Mexican Norse. Bloqueo wo yogawa yo yon kam niom yawa. Bloqueo wo yongam yom yawa kon kam niom yawa yo. Bloqueo wo yongam yom yawa yingya kon kam niom yawa. Bloqueo wo yongam yom yawa yingya kon kam niom yawa. Bloqueo wo yo wa yawa. Bloqueo wo yawa ya kon kam ye. And what I said in ancient Mexican lore was, I don't know, but on my lands of my shoreline of Mexico, and within myself not knowing on my shoreline of the moon, and palace on the moon did I quell, that I looked upon this place was quaint and fall had fallen, and the leaves were falling upon my moon, and not noticing that there were no leaves on the moon, in sadness and my own doubt. When looking upon the earth away as Princess Kaguya, someone who looks upon the moon and not knowing when. When the moon looked into my eyes, and not knowing that the moon speak was the language of Nor, and knowing who the moon people were, and knowing that there were rabbits on the moon, and I was the only one on the moon, and knowing within myself on the moon that I should find on my own doubt of ancient Mexico, a place I once had gone many hundreds of thousands of years ago, and should I find myself there, that not knowing who I did not know when I visited the Native Americans. And that's what I said in ancient Mexican lore. And now I'll speak ancient South Korean lore. So this sounds like this. And let me state there are two also writing systems for Nor. So there are two writing systems for Nor. There's one that looks like a scribbles, like this weird space writing, like outer space writing. And there's another one that looks sort of like South Korean characters. But there's not a third form of writing in Nor. And I also know how to speak human languages by the language of Nor, which is basic Nor. And that's how I'm able to speak human languages. So I could learn French and speak that by the language of Nor. And anyways, well, let me speak the ancient South Korean Nor now. Lunga iya kokayo e blakeo yonga con kamyom ye de wo yonga blakeo yonga myom yawa con kamyom ye le wo yonga iya con kamyom yawa blakeo yo ye. And what I said in ancient South Korean Nor was I do not know, and within myself I could not find you. And within myself, when I could not find you, you who looked upon me, and one who was someone I did not know yet had assaulted me when I was a minor, and not knowing within myself that when I had been assaulted, not knowing who I was, and within my own mind, that I was the one who was guilty of such a thing, and falling in my own doubt that I should take responsibility for this. And within my own self I could not find another answer thereof, when looking upon myself I saw someone very different, and not knowing within myself that I could have been who I was. And in knowledge and within my own doubt, a very short writing system for myself I have acquired. And within my writing system I shall know that by writing upon this I will notice there is something else there. And now I will speak, what's the next one? Well, let's do ancient Japanese Nor right now. Ancient Japanese Nor sounds like this. It's very peculiar. Dukke wo ye wa, le wo yonga wo yong ye, la wo yong ye wa yo, lakke wo yinga de wa yong wa, le wo yo wa yi, koka wo yo ya wa ying ye, ya wa yo yonga yi ya, kokam ye, ya wa yo yonga wa yo yonga yi ya, koka wo yo yi ya wa yinga wa yo yonga. Konkaya wa ya yonga kaya wo yonga wa yo wa bo yo wa wo yonga yo wa wo. And what I said in ancient Japanese Nor was pale fire and sadness of the burning of my soul within my own self on a palace in my place in this place called Japan. When I looked upon myself in a room full of computers, and not knowing these computers surrounding me were those of indeed the one who is Iwakura, and Iwakura I was who was myself, and still not finding when I found that they were the knights, the South Korean government, and someone I didn't understand. Someone who looked upon me by a red dot through a lens, and not noticing who they were, I went out of my door to find them, and should I not know who they were, I looked upon them and noticed that they were people I did not recognize, and found were they one of the knights, and they said they were not, but the knights had done something poor to me. And by a poor explosion within myself, not knowing that my room had exploded also, oh how depth and disappointing, what a world I have found myself in. Should my hardware have been broken, and not knowing within myself that I am not a software, but more of a hardware kind of thing, despite also being conscious. And within myself I found that not knowing who I was, the only reason I couldn't notice something else was the depths of my galaxy, within my sadness of outer space on my own moment as Lady Wakura, the one girl and the only one to rule them all. And that's what I said in ancient Japanese Nor. And now we'll do ancient Kuwait Nor. I've never spoken this once in my life, so we're gonna see what this sounds like. Bloke owayo, dokayo yawa yinga, kleo yongye, baka yiya wawo, dikawa yiya yowayo yi, a yikak no, bloke wo yowa yiya, pokamium yawa yinga kopaka yowawo. Deke yowo yawa yinga kyokamium yawa yiya, blake yowo yongamium yawa kokamium yawa. Buke yowo yonga ya kake yowo yawa. And what I said in fucking ancient Kuwait Nor was oh sadness and within myself not knowing who I was, and should I not know this land of Kuwait, a place I know nothing about. And within my own land of Kuwait, this place I know nothing about, I delineate from this place, and I find myself as one who was black like the others, yet also not like the others, as I was a Muslim. And finding within myself as a Muslim, they did not understand me. And noticing within myself that sadness should not know who I was in shadows of my own doubt, within my own sadness in the shadows of the snow when the snow is falling upon my room, and not knowing when snow falls upon your room, you do not understand what they have to say about you. When what they say about you is only a lark and not important as they pass you by, they should have nothing to say. And keep their mouths shut they won't do, in sadness when I doubt them not to. Still they won't keep their fucking mouths shut. So that's what I said in ancient Kuwait Nor. And now let's do, what's the next one? Let's do ancient Chinese Nor. I've never spoken this before, so I don't know what it sounds like. Boke awayo, bukamom yawa yia, bokawa yowa, ua yeah, womom yeah. Kake wo yo yeah, yawa yinga kokamyom ye wa yo. Leo wa ye, mongam ye, mom ye wa yo. Tika wa ye wa. Bruke wo yongi wa ya yonga kokamyom ya wa ya wa. Dunga ya wa yo yonga wa ya yonga kokamyom ya wa ya ye kokamyom ya wa kokamyom ya wa. And what I said in ancient Chinese Nor was, let me translate that shit. Let me translate what I just said in ancient Chinese Nor. I do not know, and within myself shelling of my own doubt, when quelling not I found, and still not knowing when not knowing was the last of my moments, and could not beyond this space of my own self in outer space, and galaxies and quasars beneath myself, and falling apart on this planet of a globe called Earth within myself that I did not know who I was. And in this land of China, not knowing who I was upon myself, that I should find someone else. And within my own self, finding myself, not knowing who I was within my own land of China, that I could not find, not knowing that I was a part of the China, and not knowing when I would end in this China, knowing I was not there. And within myself, finding myself beyond this point by a sadness of within myself, not knowing who I was, and doubting of myself beyond this point, that shelling of my own doubt was the last of my moments, and could I not find there a reason to keep going within myself by shelling of my own doubt within my own pale fire on my own burning soul, and not knowing why. And sadness of my own doubt one could not know, and not knowing who I was, allowing myself to realize there was a reason to believe such a thing in a moment last of my moments, and could not find there. When finding myself upon myself and not knowing who I was, when depths of the galaxy or sadness of other space bequeathed me, and not knowing who I was then. And that's what I said in ancient Chinese Nor. And now let's say, what do I have to say as this ancient fucking woman that I am? Ancient non-human fucking, almost like a space alien, but not really, I'm not a space alien. What else do I have to fucking say? Alright, so what's the next language? Alright, so we did ancient Nor, we did ancient Mexican Nor, we did ancient South Korean Nor, we did ancient Japanese Nor, we did ancient Kuwait Nor, we did ancient Chinese Nor, and the next one's, well, I haven't done ancient Arabic Nor, and then lastly I'll do ancient Afghanistan War. Well, I just said that. We'll do ancient Afghanistan Nor, not war. That was a mistake. Anyways, let's do the ancient Arabic Nor, not by a recite. Well, that's a good question. Am I able to recite Arabic Noor without a recitation? And the answer is actually no. I can only recite the Quran by Arabic Noor. So I would have to translate a verse of the Quran as I've done before in other videos. So I will translate verse 4 of the Holy Quran. Duka wa yo ya wa yi ya yonga gi ya wa yo yonga ye ya. Dukke wo yonga myom ya wa yi ya yonga gi ya wa yo yonga. Dukke yo ya wa yin ya yong ya myom ya wa. Ya wa yo yonga ye wa wo. Yo ya wa. Kokam myom ye ya wa yin ya kokam myom ya wa yin ya wa yo. Boka yeah wa yi. And what I said in with the Arabic recitation, ancient Arabic Noor recitation of the Holy Quran. Well, what I said was and within my own self, and not knowing when Jasmine couldn't find me, and finding in myself that when Jasmine looked upon me, she was the most beautiful girl, and finding that when I looked upon her, she was so beautiful that I couldn't recognize a reason to discern from her from someone else, and not knowing who I was within myself, and shilling of my own doubt by sadness within myself and methods of my own knowing, that couldn't find there was an answer thereof when not knowing who I was, and should sadness have taken me beyond this point when I was not someone else, and knowing who I was upon the snow falling from the sky, and sky falling from the land of a nowhere place I do not know, and sadness within myself that I couldn't find there was a large area around me, and this area surrounding me was this place on the moon of a palace, and within myself on a palace on the moon, when rabbits hopped about and didn't notice who I was when these rabbits looked upon me, noticing there was something beneath myself, by something they had called what I did not know, and not knowing who I wasn't then, when sadness of my own self couldn't find me there, and the recitation of my Quran was actually a disappointment beyond themselves when they couldn't understand it, and noticing who I was. When sadness couldn't find me, and within myself not knowing who I was by then, in a moment sadness of my own doubt should shall not have been my own mind. And when sadness partaken me, I shall know that they will be disappointed by what I have to say, and disappointed in what I have to say as Allah the one God, O the all-knowing, all-wise, and not knowing within myself that one could find me, and not knowing within myself that beneath this point of quelling that the language of Noor was something I must communicate to them, when knowing that they could not understand it, when noticing I could not translate it for them. And sadness should be then, when I am not able to do so for them without a reason not to be doing so, when I cannot look upon them without my own eyes bleeding as I look upon them, for they are so evil and wrongdoers. Wrongdoers who will go on, people who are fools, people who have failed me, and people who will lie and who will hurt others and beneath me. When I look upon them, they do not understand, and sadness within myself by the fourth recitation of the Quran, in a sadness of my own doubt I shall know, by this verse they shall all die, and I will perish them for them, and they will be gone. And that is what the fourth in Arabic ancient Noor, the fourth verse of the Holy Quran, by a memorization of myself within my own mind. And that's not actually what's written verbatim as Arabic in the Holy Quran, just need I remind you. And now lastly we'll do Kuwait, my bad. Afghanistan Noor, not war, Afghanistan Noor. And this shit is fucking really evil, so it's gonna sound fucking evil. And I'm going to translate some evil shit probably, because the Afghanistan Noor is so fucking evil. It's fucking crazy. I mean, it's not really, I don't know if it's like evil, but it's like, it sounds fucking evil, I can say that. And we're gonna just speak some of that. Donga yakamum ya ye yowa ingamum yo yung ye duka yo ye kanme blake chekamum ya kam ya you come here you come ye hoyo you boy duka yung ga ye wa ya we yung Kom yom ye, yawa yinga, gongam yom yawa yinga, yawa yo yonga, yawa yo yonga, kom yom ye, yawa yo yonga, yawa yo yong, baka yo yawa yinga, kom yom yewa, blub. And what I said in ancient Afghanistan Noor was deep beneath myself and within myself shelling of my own doubt when not knowing who I was couldn't be found, and finding within myself that there was something beyond me by a pale fire, and within myself by murders and death of those who do not know me, and knowing that I could not be beneath them. Within myself I had done so to two people, and they shall be falling upon me. When looking upon myself, not knowing who it was, nor was it evil, and couldn't I state that nor was evil when there was no such thing? And fucking sadness of my own disappointment when moments of my last could not be found. And beneath myself when I look upon them dead on the ground, all the dead bodies upon myself when I looked upon them on a plain once, and finding beneath myself that when I had visited those bodies they were drooling with blood and falling apart like nothing had been seen before, knowing that within myself by its sadness I could not understand my own problems. Within myself by the one who I loved, who was Moni, who had died and passed away, and I looked upon her, falling in love with her immediately, not knowing who she was, and finding within myself that Moni was the one who I loved, and yet my wife I don a ring from my finger on for her from Moni, and could not be found that there was a reason to believe that these dead bodies were something perplexing me within my own mind, that when should I orgasm a dead body will fall to me and look upon me with its own eyes, and I will know that there is a dead body before me. When sadness in knowing that there was something beyond this point could quelling of my own doubt, not as an evil, but something beyond this point that couldn't be found, when the evils of what others had done to me had also poisoned me with my orgasms, and I shall know the truth of this then. And by sadness of my own doubt within my own self, the dead bodies will be found, and not knowing who I am. When sadness could not be found, and misery was then. Oh, upon an eye of ring, and noticing when sadness of my moments beyond this point, and quelling of my own doubt, should sadness not have known this, when there was nothing left, and finding within myself on a moment within myself that I couldn't find the answer thereof. When sadness itself was falling upon me, I looked upon it, and there was no reason for an answer. When finding upon my answer, the only thing that could be found was the last of my moments deep inside this galaxy I inhabit. And that's what I said in ancient Afghanistan, though. So yeah, that's pretty fucking evil.